7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's now time for the Pony Cake Sports Podcast with your hosts, Josh Stevens, Tim Thompson, and Tom Schultz. Woo!
Hey there, everybody. We are back with another episode, and this time we are talking ADP for the tight end position. Again, ADP stands for what, Tim?
Average draft people.
And as always, I am joined with Tim and Tom, not Tim, Tom.
Que paso, motherfucker?
How are we doing besides that?
You know, you try to call me out, you don't think I'm paying attention. I hear you. Sometimes, Josh, life calls. Life beckons. I can't be sitting here rubbing your feet, painting your toenails like you're just your poster boy. I don't know what to tell you. I'm fired up, Josh. Now you got me pissed off.
I have no idea why either.
What are you talking about right now, Tim? I think you've lost it a little bit.
We listened to a lot of rap music prior to this episode.
You all fired up?
I'm a little bit confused. Don't really know what they were rapping about. I don't know why they were angry. So now I'm bringing that to the show. It seems to be popular in the NFL communities, the rap music, if you would. So now I'm going to bring that to ponycakesports.com. Oh, hey Josh, why don't you get off your phone? We're trying to run a show here.
I saw this thing on Twitter earlier, and I was going to pull it up for you. When I find it, I'll let you know.
All right.
We are talking...
Good story. Yes, all right, I'll run the show, Josh. You sit back, play on your phone, don't worry about it. We are talking about the tight end position, average draft position, not people, Josh, you idiot. The ADP for the top tight ends. We're going to run through it the same way we've ran through quarterback. These two fools ran through running back and wide receiver 2 previous weeks, I think, or something like that. I don't know.
Just last week, Tim.
I didn't listen to the shows. I don't know. But, take that back. I listened. Regardless, the tight end position, we're going to go 1 through 5, then 6 through 10, 11 through 17 probably, because 11 through 15, and there's only 17 overall. We are using fantasyfootballcalculator.com, not draftcalculator.com, Josh. I'm tired of you messing that up, though. They are our friends. And you know what? While we sit here and wait, Tom is laughing. Josh is still searching his phone, so shame on him. Josh, who was our former sponsor that we used to work with a lot hand in hand?
Bananas.
No, not
Cleat
not Banana. Yeah, that's why I want to take a second here to promote our friends at CleatGeeks.com. If you are looking for the U12 World Cup quarterfinal prelim matchup, it is going to be live on CleatGeeks.com, 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's 1:30 Pacific Time. Make sure to check it out.
I did find the tweet. It said maybe if we underpaid these modern mumble rappers and overpaid teachers, there would be smarter people in the future and less shitty music. Someone responded with, maybe if you granted Anakin the rank of Jedi Master, he wouldn't have gone all Sith and wrecked the whole universe with Empire Palpatine, goddammit.
So for the record, everyone, Joshua Stevens made you just suffer through my ramblings and my just nonsensical rant so he could make a Star Wars joke.
Should we start over?
That is how we were going to start the show. No, because this is Pony Cake Sports to a T. Welcome back, gentlemen. I'm excited. I'm fired up now. I'm ready to talk tight ends.
Moving on, tight ends.
I
Here we
bet
go.
Travis Kelce would love that Star Wars reference.
He might. Again, we are going to go the top 5 tight ends here, kind of break them down, and tell you if we would move them up, move them down, keep them where they're at. First tight end, number 1, Rob Gronkowski. Number 2, Travis Kelce. Zach Ertz, number 3. Number 4, Jimmy Graham. Number 5, Greg Olsen. Gronk and Travis Kelce going in the 3rd round. Gronk in the beginning. Travis Kelce in the middle. Zach Ertz in the beginning of the 4th round. Jimmy Graham, middle of the 5th. Greg Olsen at the end of the 5th.
Gronk is the best tight end to ever play the game of football. I don't think there should be much argument. I don't think there can be much argument with that statement. He's just been so consistent over the years. He's been a focal point of the New England Patriots offense. He's been their number 1 pass-catching option for years. Put up a fantastic year last year. Tons of games over 20 points, and that's what you're looking for from Gronk. Missed a couple games as well. Also played in that Jets, the final game of the year against the Jets, but he had 69 catches, so we told Tom Brady not to throw him the football. So that could have pushed him to be the number one tight end in PPR, but he finished second, I believe, to Travis Kelce. But he deserves to be going in the third round. And the past couple of years, we've seen him going as early as in the top 12, going in the first round of some redraft leagues. So getting him in the third round is pretty good value.
You know, I don't hate it. I think that these are. I had Tom Brady as my number one overall quarterback, so I'm going to ride with Gronk as well as the number one overall. But when you have guys like Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz right on his tails, I think that Gronk is 1A and Kelce and Ertz maybe 1B and 1C. They're right there. Especially Kelce. I think Kelce is going to be the big-time safety net for your boy Tom, Patrick Mahomes. I feel like he's going to be the one who will help bring along a young quarterback. And you already saw what Zach Ertz was able to do in that Philadelphia offense last year. So I like Gronk a lot. I'm not going to argue about him being the number one ranked tight end, especially because, at least for the moment, he is still on my team in our Dynasty League.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue with Gronk being the first tight end off the board. I think it is getting closer and closer. Yep. We haven't seen a very competitive tight end fantasy class, I guess, to say, the last couple of years, but it is getting closer and closer every single year, and I think not this year is when Gronk is overtaken, but I think next year we'll be talking this time and saying Travis Kelce is now the number one tight end, and Gronk is maybe tight end number 3. But for this right here, 2018, Rob Gronkowski deserves to be the first tight end drafted. What do you think about him getting drafted here in the third round? Do you think he should go higher than this?
No, that's an okay spot for me. If I'm in a redraft league, I really do like getting one of these big 3 tight ends. I think it creates a big time advantage, especially if it's a flex league. If you possibly put one in the flex spot, these guys are all low-end wide receiver 1s, high-end wide receiver 2. If you compare their points for Gronk, Kelce, and Ertz, I think that's the clear tier 1 for the tight end spot. But getting them in the third and fourth round is good value, in my opinion.
Can we talk a little bit? Did you hear the story about one Rob Gronkowski during his ESPN The Body photo shoot? One of my favorite stories coming out of it is he went and he did his shoot, or he was about to do his shoot, and he went and he just was walking around butt naked. And they said, Rob, here's a towel. You can wear that. And he goes, no, thank you. And jumped on the horse that was there and started riding it like a cowboy, buck-ass naked. So that's Gronk for you, not shy, and one hell of an NFL tight end.
Talking about the horse, did you guys hear that he bought a new horse? He already has one horse named Gronkowski.
It's very successful.
Yeah, but he's got another one.
Ooh.
Did you hear what he named it? LeBron J.
Listen, you
can't make this shit up with him.
People can say whatever they want about Rob Gronkowski. You don't like his personality, you don't like his outlandish behavior, that's fine. But everything that I have ever read says that he is extremely financially responsible. All these purchases that he's making is all strictly off of his bonus money. Endorsement money. Any contract money that he's made, it's all being put away. It's all being invested. I've said it numerous times. If I was... How old's Gronk now? 28? Something like that?
Somewhere around there.
Regardless, if I was in my early to mid-20s and I had the money that these guys are making, I would be more like Josh Gordon than I would Rob Gronkowski. I would have drank, smoked, or injected my money away and spent it on prostitutes. I'd be dead, for sure. So props to any of the NFL players who are keeping it all together and just having a good time.
He is 29.
29, that's what I was right there.
So he's getting up there. He's talked about retirement, and it's almost a guarantee that he's going to miss some time. I think he's missed over 25 games out of the last 100 or so games that the Patriots have played. So it's a big amount of games that you can just plan on him missing out on.
Gronk's one of those guys who you know that, like, you're just waiting. Like, he's going to retire, and then he's going to have a Kardashian-esque show that is like super popular, and he's just all over the media world.
He'll be in the WWE.
He'll probably have a show that has. What does he have? Like 3 or 4 brothers, right?
Yeah.
I think that's. Yeah, he'll have some show.
I think that the show is going to be called Big Balls on Gronk, and it's going to be the LeVar Ball and the Alonzo Ball and that whole family with Rob Gronkowski and them like traveling the world doing dumb stuff together. That's what.
That would be so dumb.
Genius. Hits every demographic. Balls in on Gronk. Call it now. A&E's going to pick it up.
Moving on, I think this is where we said the big 3. Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz, pretty close in comparison on rankings. Travis Kelce, your bona fide number 2 tight end?
For sure.
He's my number 1.
Mine as well.
Yeah. Kelce, he's kind of more of that boomer bust tight end. You compare his stat line and compare his against Ertz. Ertz is that more consistent guy who gives you the 9 to 11 points per game. Kelce's the guy who could score you in the mid-20s or high 20s along those points and definitely win you a week. Getting him or Zach Ertz as tight end 2 or 3, I think you're doing pretty well for yourself. Getting them anywhere in the 3rd or 4th, I think they're going to help you win a lot of football games this year.
Jimmy Graham being the 4th tight end and Greg Olsen being the 5th tight end. What do you think about that with Jimmy Graham on a new team, the Green Bay Packers? Greg Olsen not ending his career and coming back to the Carolina Panthers. There were rumors about how he was going to go to the booth, but he is back for another year. Thoughts on that? Should they be at 4 and 5, or should they be a little bit lower? Maybe one Evan Ingram, who is at number 6, should he be above those 2?
This is where I start to disagree with 4 and 5. The Jimmy Graham to Green Bay signing has been applauded big time, and it very well could work out. I want to see it first. You've seen over the last few years Green Bay bring in the Jared Cooks of the world, bring in the Martellus Bennett's of the world. The last successful tight end for the Packers was Jermichael Finley. That's the last guy. These big names that they've been bringing in, it has not panned out for one reason or another. Now, I do truly hope, because I like him, that Jimmy Graham, that it will play out. But I want to see it first. I don't have him in my top 5. And Greg Olsen, I feel like the Carolina Panthers are moving in a different direction. He's still talented, but the lingering of having a life after football, having that career opportunity in the booth, from the other side of my world, I see it all the time with fighters, where they have their life after their life right now, and that's when you kind of see that drop off. I am the biggest Greg Olsen fan. He's done a ton of charity work. He still considers Chicago home. He's a big name here in the city of Chicago, but there's 2 names outside of the top 5 that I would replace those guys with.
For me personally, in my rankings, Ingram's my number 4. Then it goes Graham and Olsen. So it's in the same. They're in the same group, but a little bit different order. Graham, I want to believe in him. I want to believe that the Packers are bringing him in to pretty much replace Jordy Nelson, be that red zone threat, give Aaron Rodgers something that he really hasn't had before. But he's getting up there in age. He has been putting up good numbers while he was in Seattle. Wasn't on the same tier as the numbers were in New Orleans. But Aaron Rodgers might be the best quarterback that he's ever played with. I think there's definitely a possibility that special things can happen with him in Green Bay this year. It's a risk, though.
Moving on, we have tight end number 6, Evan Ingram. Number 7, Kyle Rudolph. Number 8, Delaney Walker. Number 9, Trey Burton. 10, Jordan Reed. These guys are all getting drafted in the 6th round, 7th round, 7th round, 8th, and 8th.
So I will start here because I want to talk about the 2 guys. I said I had 2 guys to replace Jimmy Graham and Greg Olsen, and I do. I would still have Jimmy Graham and Greg Olsen somewhere in my 6 through 10. But at number 4, I would bring back Jordan Reed. I know he's injury prone. I know he's had his issues. But why is Travis Kelce the tight end that he is today? Because of Alex Smith. Alex Smith relies on his tight ends. I mentioned it in the previous episodes, how smart he is, how safe he is. someone like Jordan Reed can find a ton of success with Alex Smith. If he stays healthy, if he plays between 14 and 16 games, he is a top 5 tight end. Calling that right now.
When's the last time he's done that?
It's not. We can say that. You can say that a lot. You can say that about a lot of players. I think Jordan Reed this year, he took a lot of time off last year, more time than usual for him even last year. And then on top of that, my number 5 would be Evan Ingram. The New York Giants are 100% in win now mode. They have a stud offensive juggernaut, in my opinion. They have a lot of weapons. I get that, but what happens with all those weapons? Evan Ingram had a lot of success in his rookie season. I think both of you called that was going to happen. I think he's going to blow up even more this year. I think he's a surefire top 5 tight end being drafted right now at 608. Still a bit high for me. I'd like him a little bit later than that, in all honesty. But I predict that he will be a top 5 tight end. Listen, Saquon draws a lot of attention. OBJ draws a lot of attention. Sterling Shepard is going to get his looks. A guy like Evan Ingram, excuse me, especially in the red zone, is going to get a ton of play, and I like him here in 2018.
Yeah, I absolutely love Evan Ingram as a talent, but I'm a little nervous on him. There's definitely that clear-cut top 3 guys, and have Ingram in the top 5 as well. But I'm worried about OBJ coming back. You got Saquon Barkley coming back. That's going to be a lot of targets right there. Last year, at the end of the year, Evan Ingram was the clear-cut number 1 guy in the passing game in my eyes. He had over 100 targets. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think that might drop 10 to 15 targets, which can cause some production to drop a little bit. But no longer is he going to be the number 1 or number 2 option. He's going to be the number 3 to 4 option, which can hurt his value. But just what he can do on the football field is absolutely amazing. He's not your traditional tight end. He's everything Tim wants Jordan Reed to be, but he's better. He's younger. Doesn't have to worry about the injuries. Just a complete matchup, like mismatch on the offensive side of the football.
The reason I'm not concerned about it, Tom, is because Eli Manning's still a quarterback. Eli, a veteran, he's not going to focus on one guy. Like, obviously, yeah, there's going to be people demanding. There's a lot of personalities there in that locker room now. But Eli's the perfect, even-keel, dumb-faced looking son of a bee to throw the ball around and be patient with it, not focus on one target.
Kyle Rudolph as the seventh tight end on this ADP list here in the 7th round. What are your guys' thoughts on Kyle Rudolph? New quarterback coming into town with Kirk Cousins with the Minnesota Vikings. And he just does not get love from anybody. I believe last year we kind of torched him a little bit. You look at like another tight end like Delaney Walker is the 8th tight end. I don't know if I torched him. I actually liked Kyle Rudolph last year.
If you go back and listen, I had him ranked the highest, I think, by like 5 positions, and you guys made fun of me a lot and said that because he's a Notre Dame guy, that's the only reason I picked him.
That's
exactly
possible.
What happened.
Quite possibly that could have happened. But he's not getting a lot of love right now. Do you think he should be there at 7? Do you think he should be one spot higher? If you did that, you're taking out Olsen or you're taking out one of the other guys that we just discussed. What are your thoughts on Rudolph?
Absolutely love him at 7. Kirk Cousins liked to spread the football around. He had multiple tight ends, put up solid fantasy numbers in Washington. Tim's boy, Jordan Reed, was productive when he was on the field. We saw Vernon Davis kind of come back from the dead and be a somewhat productive tight end with Kirk Cousins. And I think that's going to help Rudolph. He's definitely a threat in the red zone. And with a lot of these guys, pretty much anyone between 6 and 15, you're just praying they score a touchdown that week to be somewhat fantasy viable.
Yeah, I think I would probably interchange. Rudolph at 7 is a good spot, maybe a little bit higher. I might have him a little bit higher than Greg Olsen, to be completely honest. But you never know. But no, if you get him at 7-4, he's your tight end. You have the rest of your team filled out. I'm confident in that. I have one negative for these ADPs.
What's that?
Trey Burton. I think that this is an atrocious place to put him at number 9 in the 8th round. Absolutely not. He may be the 9th best tight end, but I am not drafting a Trey Burton with my at 802. New offense, new system, coming off of a great year with Philadelphia, but you still don't really know who Trey Burton is. On top of that, you have 2 other tight ends there. I understand that Deion Sims is just a pass-blocking tight end, but the Bears are trying to figure out if they can implement him more into the offense, if there's more that he can do. And then they have Adam Shaheen, who it seems like, everything that I'm hearing, that they're going to try to make him a big deal this year. They didn't, he had a big learning curve last year, is my understanding, just from coming from Division II to the NFL. Monster learning curve, trying to grow into his body a little bit. I am not confident at all. The fact that in this ADP, hey, fantasy football calculator and all these people who are doing these drafts, Trey Burton in front of Jordan Reed is atrocious, in my opinion.
Last year, we both had Kyle Rudolph 9.
Where I have
13.
Okay.
Respectable. Not too bad. We weren't way off.
Nope. Maybe it was just Tom bashing me.
Tim, with the Trey Burton situation, I
like him.
It's tough because I'm a huge Trey Burton fan. You're bringing a coach over that ran a very tight end heavy scheme, a run heavy scheme as well, and it's very interesting because you look at Travis Kelce's 6'6", and then you look at Trey Burton, he's 6'2". He's a different type of tight end. If you're going to take a tight end and replicate that Travis Kelce situation, it would be the idiot that they drafted last year,
Adam Shaheen.
If
Shaheen is athletic at all.
But he may not be. So I like Trey Burton. He just does not remind me at all of Travis Kelce. He does not remind me at all of Zach Ertz. He does not remind me at all of what Jimmy Graham was. It's tough. I look at him and I see like almost an Austin Seferian-Jenkins, but in a smaller body. It's just that's just what I see.
I like that comparison.
What's going to be difficult with Burton is he's never played a lot. I think last year he was under 35% of snaps. I don't think he's ever had over 400 yards receiving in a season. I don't think he's ever had over 40 receptions in a season. So most likely he's going to get a career high in snaps. He's probably going to get a career high in receiving yards, receptions, touchdowns, all those things. But that still might not
be enough
to be a reliable and valuable fantasy asset. But with Tim, you said you would take Jordan Reed over Burton. I wouldn't.
Really?
I have no faith at all in Jordan Reed. I'm not getting burned by him again.
We all three had Jordan Reed ranked as our number two tight end last year.
If I can get Jordan Reed at 8'11" versus Trey Burton at 8'2", every single time, I am making that. I'm making that decision. Especially when you look at then where you're drafting after that, and then I'm drafting at 9'2" versus going all the way to 9'12" or 9'11", I should say. There's too much that's going to go on in that meantime, and there's tight ends after that who I would probably put right there as well. But no, I just there's too many questions with Trey Burton to say like there's too many options. He's one of three. Let's go over the rest of this list here that they have listed on fantasyfootballcalculator.com. They have tight end number 11, George Kittle in the 10th. 12, Jack Doyle in the 11th. 13, Tyler Eifert in the 12th. 14, David Njoku in the 13th. 15, O.J. Howard in the 13th. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, which is the 16th in the 14th round. Vance McDonald, 17th in the 14th round.
I like George Kittle this year. I think tight ends, it's kind of weak right now. Him going the 11th or in 11th overall at the tight end spot, 10:06. But I think it makes sense. He's either 11 or 12 in my personal rankings. Kind of saw his production go up a little bit once Jimmy Garoppolo took over, which you have to like. He did play majority of the snaps for the San Francisco 49ers last season, which is also a big thing for him and his growth and his development as a player. Tight ends is one of the hardest spots to learn for a rookie player because you have to know how to block. You have to know all the run blocking schemes. all the protections, but you also have to be crisp route runner. You have to play pretty much the offensive line and the wide receiver spot. It's a tough position to fill, but I like George Kittle going in the 10th round.
So I'm going to start with, I think there's a couple wild cards here. I think Jack Doyle is one of those wild cards, and I believe David Njoku is one of the wild cards here that could potentially break the top 10 with and even ASJ, even though I don't like him, with Blake Bortles. But my biggest what the hell is OJ Howard. Cameron Brate, just recently signed to a new deal. Cameron Brate has been phenomenal.
Top 10 last year.
For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're talking 14 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons alone, and he doesn't make your list? I'm preaching to the choir again. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the world. You just have to be smarter than 11 other teams in your league. Cameron Brate should be one of these tight ends. It is atrocious that he's not. Even with O.J. Howard there last year, he had a hair shy of 600 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns. For a late tight end, for a Vance McDonald, they have him here at 14.05. If I am getting Cameron Brate at 14 or later, I'm happy. I am thrilled. Sign me up every single. We all love O.J. Howard. We are monster fans of O.J. Howard. Until he proves that Cameron Brate is not the guy, I am drafting Cameron Brate in front of O.J. Howard every single time.
Yeah, what kind of hurts O.J. Howard? He's a better, in my eyes, he's a better overall player.
Yeah.
He's a much better blocker. So the Bucs like to use a lot of 2 tight end sets. And when they do that, and they ask one of them to block, it's going to be the better blocker, which is O.J. Howard. And that's kind of why Cameron Brate was so reliable last year. But both of them had they were both kind of streaky, but week in and week out, I think O.J. Howard had 6 or 7 games over 10 points, and Brate was right around the same spot. So if you're in a best ball league, if you can get Cameron Brate and an O.J. Howard, and they just automatically set it for you, so you get the best one out of that week, that's a nice little combo. Tim, you brought up Jack Doyle. I do like Jack Doyle. He was pretty reliable last year. I think he was tight end 7 last year. Let's talk about his running mate, though, Eric Ebron. The Colts,
Good call, kid.
last time Andrew Luck was really healthy, he had 2 tight ends in Dwayne Allen and Colby Fleener, and both of them put up tight end or borderline tight end number 1 numbers. I think that's possible this year as well. He likes targeting the tight ends in the red zone. Dante Moncrief is also gone, who is also a red zone weapon for Andrew Luck. I like Eric Ebron. Been riding that horse for a long time, but he was tight end number 14 last year. It's not great, but I think his numbers will get better, and I think he is the best quarterback he's ever played with throwing the football this year.
2 guys' names that I just want to bring up real quick. You got to look at Jared Cook going to the Oakland Raiders. Jared Cook finished his top 12 tight end last year. Got rid of some of the offensive weapons, bringing in a lot of offensive weapons. Jared Cook still there as a tight end. And one name to really keep an eye on is Mr. Ricky Seals-Jones. What are your guys' thoughts on Ricky Seals-Jones for the Arizona Cardinals?
Honestly, I don't have much to say about him. I don't know what's going to happen in Arizona with Sam Bradford?
Yep.
At the helm. How long before he gets injured? And then the Chosen Rosen comes in. Maybe I like Ricky Seals-Jones a little bit more, actually. But right now, I like him not being on this list.
I like RSJ. He's a converted wide receiver. He's got the size you're looking for, 6'5". I don't think Jermaine Gresham's gonna beat him out. I think as long as Jones shows up and comes to camp and he's kind of shown what he's capable of, I think this offense will be a lot better in Arizona this year. They got a better quarterback play. Still worried a little bit about that offensive line. You got David Johnson coming back. I like RSJ as a sneaky late round flyer.
Where would have Hunter Henry been on your list?
Top 5.
Somewhere around there. I'm not sure if he would be top 5, but he would be close to that for sure.
You just got to look how the Chargers have used the tight ends over the years. Yeah. Antonio Gates, an absolute dominant tight end with Pip Rivers throwing the football. Gates is gone, and Hunter Henry was going to be the lead guy there, and I would have loved to have him this year. It sucks he tore his ACL this early in the season, and that he's gone, but he's still a young cat and still's got potential to be productive.
I have one last thing to say about this tight end ADP. Tyler Eifert is the 13th ranked tight end in ADP.
He's the same thing as Jordan Reed.
Drafted at 12-12. Tyler Eifert has created more burn victims than the Chicago Fire. In the last 4 seasons, he's played in 24 games. It's 37.5% of the games. I understand that he had a monster 2015. I get that. But 10 games in the past 2 years and a measly 5 touchdowns to show for it. I'm not okay with that. You stop. He shouldn't be on this. He shouldn't be this high. He shouldn't be on this list. You know why? I'm talking to you from experience. Last year, Joshua Stevens was right before me, and I believe the 8th round, maybe the 7th, maybe the 9th. I'm not for sure. But Joshua Stevens selected Zach Ertz.
Yep.
The very next pick, I selected Tyler Eifert. It's that close of number one in terms of a coin flip, but Tyler Eifert's not there. Make him prove himself. If you get him late, if you get him 12th, 13th, 14th round, that's one thing. But taking him early is a joke. Don't fall into that trap, please. From experience, don't do it. Joshy phones back on his phone. This is where I want to take a moment here to talk about our friends over at Cleat Geeks.
I was just going to say Jordan Reed has missed 28 games out of a possible 80 games. That's all.
Missed 10 games last year, 4 the year before that.
So it's right around that same. That's 35% of the games that he's missed. So
yeah.
it's the same thing. But do you guys want to say that Tyler Eifert's on the same level?
I don't want to draft either of them.
Yeah,
neither of them will be in my top 12.
I'll let somebody else draft them.
Yep,
fair enough.
How many touchdowns did Eifert have the last 2 years? 5?
Yes, but 0 last year, 5 the year before, so 5 total.
Gotcha.
Year before that was 13. So outside of his big year in 2015, he has 7 touchdowns. In 16, that's what, 24, 26 games. So in 26 games, excluding 2015, he has 7 touchdowns. Not good.
No, it's not good. I agree. Anything else?
No. I would not target Jordan Reed or Tyler Eifert. I'm staying away from them. I'd rather roll with Trey Burton, either the Colts guys, either the Bucs guys. I'd feel more comfortable with that. If you want to do the upside, go with Ricky Seals-Jones. I like him, David Njoku. I think there's more upside with those guys than Reed and Eifert.
Yeah, I'm not going to just sit here and continue to argue for Jordan Reed, but at least he has a couple of seasons, not many, but at least 2 seasons of big-time tight end numbers, where Tyler Eifert only has his 1. That's why I would take Jordan Reed over Tyler Eifert.
Fair enough. Anything else, boys?
That's all I got.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's all we have for you guys this time. Hope you guys enjoyed the talk for ADP for the tight end position from fantasyfootballcalculator.com. And we'll talk to you next time, but you guys can always follow us on Twitter at PonyKegSports, at Pony_Keg_Tom, and at Fight Talk Tim. And email us ponykicksports@gmail.com. Until next time.
Peace.